শুধু আইছো
Chopra is a spiritual teacher and best-selling author. His latest will be a runaway bestseller, Mohammad, The Story of the Last Prophet, comes out this month. And
ওখানে বসো খুলে কি করবা
Center for
No.
Ethical Leadership. He's the author of New Proofs for the Existence of God, Contributions of Contemporary Physics and Philosophies. The Jesuits are the teaching on of the Catholic Church. I once had a Catholic priest tell me once that he was a Jesuit. He had spent that day with Catholics and remembered what a Catholic was. Anyway, we'll start with Leonard. How did you come to be the co-author? How did this come together, you and Stephen writing the book?
Well, it started around 2002. I had written my first book called Euclid's Window, which was about curves, the concept of curved space and how it came about and how we use it in physics. And then one day, my agent called me and said, "Hey, guess what? How would you like to write a book with Stephen Hawking?" I thought about it for maybe a millisecond, and I said, "Yeah, that sounds good." Now, that wasn't this book. That was a briefer history of time, and he had the idea to write a book that was a little clearer, more understandable than his original book, A Brief History of Time, which he recognized a lot of people tried to understand but had some trouble with. And he had been looking for a co-author because he wanted to have some help rewriting that book and hadn't been able to find anybody that he wanted to work with. And then when he saw Euclid's Window, he liked the way I wrote, and he liked the fact that I'm a physicist. I heard the story at first many years later. And so he said, "I'll write it if I can get Mladno." And so I said, yeah. So we wrote that book, and it was a fun book. And when we finished it, I thought, we should write a book about his current thinking. I mean, his thinking has advanced a lot. And at that time, around 2005, he was just coming up with some really new, interesting ideas. And physics and cosmology had also advanced a lot in those last few years. So I went up to him. He visits Caltech every year for about 6 weeks. And I just said, "Hey, Stephen, how would you like to write another book about your latest thinking?" And he said, "Sure." And that's all the discussion there was. But
How much of the book is him, how much you?
Well, I would say the book is a book, of course, on his ideas and his latest thinking. But we passed it back and forth so much, I couldn't even go back and point out to you.
Do you agree with it?
Yes.
Come here.
Bastian daran hält.
Nein.
Unsere neue Windel.
17 Euro. Wie die missfühlt.
Nina.
Ja, entsteht dieser Sog und funktioniert 100.
Ziehen und drücken.
আবার নাই তো
Nice bubbles.
দাও আচ্ছা সময় খাই চলো যাই বাজার করে নিয়ে আসি